Have you ever felt like you're trapped in an endless cycle, constantly repeating the same patterns and facing the same challenges, waiting for that magical moment when everything will finally change? What if I told you that the breakthrough you've been searching for isn't waiting for you in some distant future? It's already here, waiting for you to claim it. There's a reason you found this video today. And no, it wasn't random. Something deep within you recognized that you're standing at a crossroads. A moment where the version of yourself that's been struggling, waiting and hoping, meets the version that's ready to transform. Has this ever happened to you? That subtle inner knowing that whispers, I can't keep doing things the same way and expect different results. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. October carries a different energy. Can you feel it? It's not because the seasons are shifting or because the universe has somehow aligned perfectly for you. It's because something within you has decided that you're no longer willing to be who you were last month. There's a version of you, higher, cleaner, clearer, that's been patiently waiting in the wings. And this month, this is the month you finally meet them. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share isn't just another collection of techniques or spiritual bypassing. This is about a fundamental shift in your state of being. A shift so powerful that it will quietly but completely reroute your entire reality. What you're about to discover might surprise you in its simplicity, yet challenge you in its application. Because the truth is, most of us have been taught to chase, to strive, to prove ourselves worthy of our desires, when all along the secret has been in a different direction entirely. What if everything you've been seeking, the abundance, the love, the confidence, the peace, isn't something you need to acquire, but something you need to remember? What if the gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't a matter of distance, but a matter of perception? October is calling you to a higher way of being, not through more doing, not through perfect techniques, but through a shift in identity so fundamental that everything else naturally realigns around it. And it begins with just two words that, when spoken from the right state of being, can break the spell that's been running your life. But before I reveal them, I want you to understand something fundamental about transformation. It begins within you. This isn't just inspirational talk. It's the hidden mechanism behind every meaningful change you've ever experienced. The world you see around you, your relationships, your financial situation, your health, your opportunities, none of these exist independently of your inner state. They are perfect reflections, precise mirrors of what's happening inside you. When you truly grasp this principle, everything shifts. You stop trying to manipulate external circumstances and start addressing the source, your own consciousness. If you resonated with this message about claiming what's already yours, hit that subscribe button to continue this journey of transformation. Each video builds on these principles, helping you deepen your practice of embodiment. Think about it this way. Have you noticed how some people seem to attract the same patterns over and over again? Different faces, different places, but the same essential experience repeats. This isn't random bad luck. It's a reflection of an inner blueprint that remains unchanged despite all external efforts to create something new. The journey of transformation we're embarking on together requires a profound paradigm shift. Most of us have been taught that change happens from the outside in. Get the job first, then you'll feel successful. Find the relationship first, then you'll feel loved. Achieve the goal first, then you'll feel worthy. But this approach has it exactly backward. Real, lasting transformation flows from the inside out. The outer world reorganizes itself around your inner reality, not the other way around. This revelation turns everything you thought you knew about creating change on its head. The decision you make in this moment, to focus on your inner state rather than external conditions, will determine whether October becomes just another month or a genuine breakthrough in your life. Now, Here's where this journey becomes both beautifully simple and deeply challenging. What if I told you that everything you've been seeking, the abundance, the love, the freedom, the peace, isn't something new you need to acquire, but something you need to remember? What if these qualities aren't distant treasures requiring years of spiritual practice to attain, but your natural state that's been temporarily forgotten? This perspective completely revolutionizes how you approach manifestation. Instead of striving to become worthy enough to receive what you desire, you're removing the barriers to what's already yours. Instead of climbing a mountain to reach your goals, you're clearing the fog that obscures what's already present. The mindset shift I'm describing isn't about positive thinking or forcing yourself to feel good when you don't. It's about recognizing that on a fundamental level, you are not separate from your desires. The very fact that you can conceive of them means they already exist within you as potential, as possibility, as seeds waiting for the right conditions to bloom. Now, I want to go even deeper into why most people remain stuck in patterns of waiting and wanting despite all their spiritual knowledge and practice. See, there's a fundamental misunderstanding at play, one that even the most advanced teachers often miss. And it's this misunderstanding that keeps the gap between you and your desires feeling unbridgeable. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to bridge the gap," if you can feel something shifting already, even before hearing these two powerful words. Your readiness is the first step in this profound revelation. The gap that exists between where you are and where you want to be isn't actually filled by doing more. It's filled by accessing a deeper part of yourself, a part that already knows exactly how to create the life you desire. This wisdom isn't something you need to acquire. It's something you need to uncover, to remember, to allow back into your conscious awareness. Think about it this way. Beneath the surface-level mind that's constantly racing with thoughts, worries, and plans, there exists a deeper intelligence. This is the part of you that knows how to breathe without thinking, that keeps your heart beating, that orchestrates millions of cellular functions every second. This intelligence isn't confused about how to manifest what you want. It's already a master creator, but its voice has been drowned out by the noise of fear, the static of doubt, and the constant chatter of a world that profits from your disconnection. The journey we're embarking on isn't about adding more to this noise. It's about clearing the pathway to this deeper wisdom, this innate knowing that has, "I've been with you all along." The revelations you're seeking aren't found in more information. They're found in the silence between your thoughts, in the space where your authentic self resides. This is why these two words, when spoken from the right state of being, have such transformative power. Their magic doesn't lie in the words themselves, but in the state from which they're declared. When spoken as an intellectual concept, they're just words. But when spoken from a place of embodied knowing, they become a catalyst for profound transformation. You see, there's a fundamental distinction between chasing your desires and embodying them. Most approaches to manifestation focus entirely on the chase, making your desire clear, strong, specific. But desire alone is like a seed without soil. It has potential, but nowhere to take root. The missing element, the true catalyst for transformation, is your state of being. Your state isn't your mood or your emotions or even your thoughts. It's the frequency you're broadcasting at the level of identity. It's who you are being moment to moment. And here's the hidden truth that changes everything. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. It matches your state with perfect precision, like a mirror reflecting back exactly what's placed before it. So the breakthrough you're seeking doesn't come from wanting more intensely or visualizing more clearly. It comes from shifting your state of being from one who is wanting, hoping, and waiting to one who is already embodying the essence of what they desire. This subtle but powerful distinction is what separates those who continuously chase their dreams from those who naturally attract them. The mindset revolution I'm describing isn't about adding another spiritual practice to your already busy life. It's about recognizing that on a fundamental level, the journey of manifestation is an inside job. It's about becoming the living embodiment of what you desire, before you see evidence of it in your outer world. This isn't pretending or fake it till you make it. It's a profound alignment with a deeper reality. Write in the comments, "I choose to embody, not just desire," if you're feeling the distinction between these two approaches and are ready to make this powerful shift in your own life. Let's examine what's really happening when you're trying to create change in your life. Your mindset, the lens through which you view your reality, isn't just a collection of conscious thoughts. It's an invisible program running in the background of your consciousness, shaping your experiences in ways you rarely recognize. Like an operating system on a computer, it determines what's possible and what's not, what's visible and what remains hidden from your awareness. This hidden program wasn't consciously chosen by you. It was installed through your earliest experiences, cultural conditioning, and the subtle messaging you've absorbed throughout your life. The program contains rules like, you have to work hard for money, love is scarce and must be earned, or success comes to those who struggle enough. These aren't facts about reality. They're lines of code in your personal operating system. Here's the revelation that changes everything. This program doesn't just filter your perception of reality. It actively creates your experience of it. When your internal program says, abundance is difficult to attain, you don't just think that thought. Occasionally, your entire nervous system orients around that belief. You notice evidence that confirms it. You unconsciously make decisions that reinforce it. You energetically broadcast that frequency into your environment. Subscribe now and join a community of conscious creators who understand that manifestation isn't something you do, it's something you are. Together, we'll explore even more powerful ways to align with your divine inheritance. This is why willpower and positive thinking often fall short. They're like trying to change your computer's performance by painting the monitor a different color. They don't address the underlying code that's actually generating your experience. The breakthrough happens when you recognize that true transformation isn't about changing your thoughts. It's about upgrading your entire operating system. But here's where most people encounter a crucial roadblock on their journey. They approach this process intellectually, believing that if they understand these concepts mentally, their reality will change. They read the books, watch the videos, learn the techniques, but their experience remains frustratingly the same. That's because this journey isn't about intellectual understanding. It's about embodied knowing, the kind that registers in your cells, rewires your nervous system, and rearranges your energetic signature in the world. There's a world of difference between knowing about something and knowing something from the inside out. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. You could read books about balance, momentum, and the physics of cycling for years. But until your body knows how to ride, until that knowledge is embedded in your muscles, reflexes, and nervous system, you'll still fall when you try to pedal away. The same principle applies to transformation. Your body, your energy field, your subconscious mind, these need to know the new reality you're claiming, not just your intellect. This embodied knowing doesn't happen through more information or better understanding. It happens through a fundamental shift in your state of being, a recalibration of your entire system to a new frequency. This is the difference between someone who intellectually understands abundance principles but still struggles financially, and someone who naturally attracts opportunities without effort. One knows the concepts, the other embodies them. Type in the comments, "The mirror never lies," if you're beginning to see how your inner state has been creating your outer experiences all along. Right now, let's look at the fundamental misunderstanding that keeps most people trapped in cycles of wanting and waiting. There's a perceived gap between where you are and where you want to be, between your current reality and your desired experience. This gap often feels unbridgeable, as if crossing it would require extraordinary effort, perfect timing, or miraculous intervention. But what if I told you that this gap is an illusion? What if the distance you perceive between yourself and your desires exists only in your mind? This revelation completely transforms how you approach the manifestation process. Think about how we typically relate to our desires. We position them as separate from us, as destinations we need to reach through struggle and striving. When I finally have enough money, then I'll be financially free. When I find the perfect relationship, then I'll feel complete. When I achieve this goal, then I'll be successful. In each case, we're placing our desires at a distance, creating a timeline of separation between our current state and what we want to experience. This perception of distance isn't just mental, it becomes physiological. Your body responds to this gap with tension, with yearning, with the biochemical signature of lack. Your entire nervous system orients around the belief that what you want exists somewhere else, sometime later, but not here and not now. The journey of transformation begins when you recognize that this gap is a construct of perception, not an objective reality. The distance between you and your desires was created by your mind, and it can be dissolved by your mind, not through forcing or pretending, but through accessing a deeper order of truth. Beneath the surface-level mind that perceives separation and distance lies a deeper intelligence. This is the part of you that knows how to heal a cut without your conscious intervention, that keeps your heart beating without your reminder, that processes trillions of bits of information every second without your awareness. This deeper intelligence isn't confused about manifestation. It doesn't experience a gap between desire and fulfillment. It operates from wholeness, from completion, from the recognition that everything is already connected in a unified field of consciousness. While your thinking mind fragments reality into pieces, here, there, now then, me, it, your deeper intelligence perceives the interconnected nature of all things. The breakthrough happens when you shift your center of gravity from the thinking mind that perceives separation to this deeper intelligence that knows unity. From this vantage point, you recognize that your desires aren't distant objects you need to acquire, but expressions of your own consciousness seeking to emerge through you. You're not separate from what you desire. You're the field from which it arises. This isn't abstract philosophy. It's a practical shift in how you relate to everything you want to create or experience. Instead of reaching for your desires from a place of separation, you relax into the knowing that they already exist within you as potential, as possibility, as seed forms waiting for the right conditions to emerge. Share in the comments, "I am the field, not the seeker," if you're beginning to recognize that you're not separate from what you desire, but are the very ground from which it emerges. Let's examine what's really happening when you're trying to create change in your life. Your state of being, who you are at the core level of identity, is like a broadcast signal you're constantly sending out into the universe. This isn't mystical thinking. It's a fundamental principle of how reality operates. The frequency you embody is the magnet that draws experiences, people, and circumstances that match that frequency. Think about how this plays out in your everyday life. When you're in a state of lack, constantly focusing on what's missing, the world around you seems to conspire to show you more evidence of scarcity. It's not that the universe is punishing you. It's simply that your inner state creates a lens through which you perceive and interact with reality. And that lens becomes a filter that determines what you can and cannot experience. The profound revelation here is that the mirror never lies. If your life feels like a struggle, if opportunities seem to pass you by, if abundance feels just out of reach, these aren't random circumstances happening to you. They're precise reflections of your dominant state of being. The journey of transformation isn't about changing the reflection. It's about changing the one being reflected. This is why affirmations, vision boards, and manifestation techniques often fall short of creating lasting change. They're attempting to manipulate the reflection without addressing the source. It's like putting makeup on a mirror and expecting your face to look different. There's a profound distinction between desiring results and becoming the cause of those results. Most approaches to manifestation focus entirely on the desire, making it clear, making it strong, making it specific. But desire alone is like a seed without soil. It has potential, but nowhere to take root. The missing element, the true catalyst for transformation, is your state of being. You can desire financial abundance with every fiber of your being, but if you're embodying the state of someone who's struggling, who's separate from wealth, who's hoping money will someday arrive, that's the frequency you're broadcasting, and that's what the universe will match. Behind the scenes of every successful manifestation is a shift in identity that precedes the external change. Look at anyone who's created extraordinary results in any area of life. They didn't just use techniques. They became different. Their mindset, their energy, their presence in the world shifted first, and their circumstances followed as a natural consequence. This distinction completely revolutionizes how you approach creating change. Instead of asking, "What do I need to do to get what I want?" the question becomes, "Who do I need to be to naturally attract what I want?" Instead of focusing on the having, you focus on the being. And when the being is aligned, the doing and the having follow with an ease that feels almost magical. The journey we're on isn't about adding more tools to your manifestation toolkit. It's about recognizing that you are the tool. Your state, your frequency, your embodied presence is what creates your reality. And once you understand this, you'll never approach manifestation the same way again. Share in the comments, "I am what I attract," if you're beginning to feel the power of this principle and are ready to shift your focus from what you want to who you're being. When we look deeper at the version of you that's been struggling to manifest what you desire, we find something revealing at its core, a foundation built entirely on separation. This old identity has been structured around the belief that what you want exists somewhere outside of you, and your job is to qualify for it, to earn it, to become worthy enough to receive it. This perspective creates an inevitable energetic tension. When you see yourself as separate from your desires, you naturally approach them with the energy of wanting, of reaching, of grasping. And that very energy of separation is what keeps pushing your desires away from you. It's a self-perpetuating cycle that most people never recognize they're caught in. The revolutionary shift happens when you recognize that, on a fundamental level, you are not separate from your desires. This isn't metaphorical or theoretical. It's a profound truth about the nature of consciousness and creation. Your desires didn't come to you randomly. They arose from within your own consciousness as expressions of your deeper self seeking to emerge in the world. This perspective completely transforms your relationship with manifestation. Instead of seeing yourself as someone trying to attract something from outside yourself, you recognize yourself as the field from which all of your desires naturally arise and express. You're not drawing abundance to you. You're allowing the abundance that's already within you to express itself through you. You're not attracting love. You're allowing the love that you already are to flow through you into form. This mindset shift isn't about positive thinking or forcing yourself to feel good when you don't. That approach still operates from a framework of separation, the idea that you need to fix your current state to get what you want. Instead, it's about recognizing your essential non-separation from everything you desire, which creates a natural state of allowing rather than forcing. Your state of being, who you are at the level of identity and embodied presence, is like a broadcast signal you're constantly emitting into the universe. Just as a radio transmitter sends out waves that are picked up by receivers tuned to that frequency, your being transmits a signal that's received by everything in your environment. This isn't abstract or mystical thinking. It's actually a concrete metaphor for how reality operates. Your state determines what you notice, what opportunities you recognize, what possibilities you can conceive, what actions feel natural to take, and how others respond to your presence. It shapes every aspect of your experience, not because the universe is rewarding or punishing you, but because it's matching your broadcast with perfect precision. The question then becomes not, "How do I get what I want?" but "What signal am I broadcasting? Am I broadcasting the frequency of lack or the frequency of abundance? Am I emitting the signal of unworthiness waiting for validation, or or the signal of someone already whole, already complete, already connected to everything they desire? Drop in the comments, I embody the frequency of having, not wanting, if you're beginning to feel how different these two states actually are in your body and in your life. The impact of this misunderstanding can be devastating, leaving you feeling like you're doing everything right, but still not seeing results. When you look at your life and notice areas where you're still struggling, where abundance still feels just out of reach, where joy still feels conditional, these aren't random circumstances or bad luck. They're precise reflections of your dominant state of being. This isn't about blame or judgment. It's about recognition. The mirror never lies. If your life feels like a constant struggle, if opportunities seem to pass you by, if relationships follow the same painful patterns, these aren't punishments or coincidences. They're reflections of the frequency you're embodying, often without conscious awareness. Think about how this plays out in various areas of your life. In why? Finances. Someone might be doing all the right things, budgeting, investing, affirming abundance, yet still experiencing scarcity. Why? Because beneath their conscious actions, they're embodying the state of someone who's separate from abundance, who believes on a core level that money is difficult to acquire and maintain. In relationships, someone might be using all the right techniques, setting intentions, visualizing their ideal partner, putting themselves out there, yet still attracting connections that feel empty or painful. Why? Because they're broadcasting the frequency of someone who doesn't feel worthy of deep love, who expects disappointment, who believes connection requires compromise of their true self. Now, I want to go even deeper into a revolutionary insight that will transform how you approach manifestation entirely. Most people approach this journey as a collection of techniques to master: visualization, affirmation, energy clearing, meditation. They spend years perfecting these methods, believing that with just the right combination of practices, their desires will finally manifest. But here's the revelation that changes everything. Manifestation isn't about learning techniques to get what you want. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts what they desire. The techniques aren't the destination. They're just scaffolding to support your inner transformation. The true mastery comes when you no longer need the techniques because you've embodied the state that naturally creates what you want. It's like learning to ride a bicycle. Initially, you might need training wheels, conscious focus, and constant adjustment. But eventually, you embody the skill so completely that it becomes effortless, natural, an extension of who you are. Behind the scenes of every successful manifestation is a shift in identity that precedes the external change. Look at anyone who's created extraordinary results in any area of life. They didn't just use techniques. They became different. Their mindset, their energy, their presence in the world shifted first, and their circumstances followed as a natural consequence. This distinction completely revolutionizes how you approach creating change. Instead of asking, "What do I need to do to get what I want?" the question becomes, "Who do I need to be to naturally attract what I want?" Instead of focusing on the having, you focus on the being. And when the being is aligned, the doing and the having follow with an ease that feels almost magical. Type in the comments, "I am the tool, not the technique," if you're beginning to see how your embodied presence is the real catalyst for transformation, not the methods you've been practicing. The journey of transformation we're discussing reveals a profound truth that most manifestation teachings miss entirely. We've been taught to believe that external circumstances create our internal state, that when we finally achieve our goals, then we'll feel differently. When we get the money, then we'll feel abundant. When we find the relationship, then we'll feel loved. When we reach the destination, then we'll feel successful. But the hidden mechanism behind every authentic transformation works in precisely the opposite direction. Identity shift always precedes external change. Always. This isn't motivational psychology. It's the fundamental operating principle of consciousness itself. When you examine the lives of anyone who's created extraordinary results, whether in wealth, relationships, impact, or any other domain, you'll discover the same pattern. Before the external circumstances shifted, their identity transformed first, often invisibly, often silently, but always preceding the tangible results that followed. They didn't just visualize abundance. They became someone who could no longer relate to scarcity as their truth. They didn't just affirm love. They embodied the frequency of someone who knows they are inherently lovable. The external manifestation was simply the natural consequence, the inevitable echo of an inner shift that had already occurred. This revelation completely reorders the conventional sequence of manifestation. Most people operate from a paradigm of do-have-be. If I do the right things, then I'll have what I want, and then I'll be different. This approach keeps you perpetually chasing, constantly trying to qualify for an experience that feels just out of reach. The breakthrough happens when you flip this sequence to be-do-have. When I embody the state of already being the person who has this desire fulfilled, I naturally take different actions, and those actions effortlessly produce different results. From this perspective, the having isn't the goal. It's the natural byproduct of who you're being. This distinction transforms the questions you ask yourself. Instead of, what do I need to do to get what I want? You begin asking, who do I need to be to naturally attract what I want? Instead of, how can I manifest this? You ask, what state would I be in if this were already mine? The catalyst for transformation isn't found in more action, more strategy, or more effort. It's found in a fundamental shift in your state of being. When you change who you are being at the core level, everything else, your decisions, your energy, your opportunities, your results, rearranges itself around your new identity with an ease that feels almost magical. This is why two people can take identical actions and experience completely different results. One person can follow the same investment strategy, use the same affirmations, implement the same business plan, but be operating from an entirely different state of being. And it's the state, not the actions, that determines the outcome. The journey of embodiment asks something profound of you. It asks you to be the version of yourself who already has what you desire before you see external evidence of it. It asks you to trust the process of becoming before seeing, to embody the frequency of having before the physical manifestation appears. Type in the comments, I choose being overdoing, if you're ready to shift your focus from what you need to do to manifest your desires to who you need to be to naturally attract them. When we look deeper at what's really happening inside you right now, we find something fascinating. Right now, you're carrying two versions of yourself within you. The first version is the one you're most familiar with, the one who's been diligently following all the rules, doing everything right, checking all the spiritual boxes, yet still feeling the frustration of not seeing the results you desire. This version operates from a mindset of almost there, believing that with just a little more effort, just a little more time, just one more technique, everything will finally click into place. But there's another version of you that exists simultaneously, a version that's been quietly waiting, in the background of your consciousness. This version knows something the first version doesn't, that you never needed to wait, that you never needed to earn what was already yours by divine right. This version understands that the journey of manifestation isn't about becoming worthy enough to receive. It's about removing the barriers to what's already yours. The transformation we're discussing isn't about creating a new you. It's about allowing this second version, this authentic self, to take over the driver's seat of your life. It's about making a decision to stop identifying with the one who's waiting and start embodying the one who knows. This shift in identification isn't something that happens gradually over time. It's a choice you make in an instant, a decision to step into a new paradigm of being. The hidden truth that Florence Scovel Shinn understood so deeply was that we don't actually create our reality. We remember it. This subtle but revolutionary distinction changes everything about how you approach manifestation. When you're trying to create something, you're operating from a mindset of lack, believing that what you want doesn't exist yet and needs to be brought into being through effort and struggle. But when you're remembering, you're acknowledging that what you desire already exists in a higher dimension of consciousness, and your job is simply to align with it. This perspective completely shifts the impact of your manifestation practice. Instead of pushing against reality, trying to force it to conform to your desires, you're relaxing into a recognition that your desired reality is already complete. Your journey becomes one of alignment rather than creation, tuning your frequency to match what already exists rather than trying to build it from scratch. Behind the scenes of every spiritual tradition is this same understanding that what we're seeking isn't something new or foreign to us. It's our natural state, our birthright, the reality that exists when we remove the veils of limiting beliefs and false identities. The path of manifestation is really a path of remembering who you truly are and what's already yours by divine inheritance. The mindset shift from creating to remembering feels completely different in your body. There's a relaxation, an ease, a sense of coming home to yourself rather than straining to become something you're not. And it's from this state, this aligned remembering state, that miracles begin to unfold naturally in your life. Drop in the comments, "I choose to remember, not create," if you can feel the difference between these two approaches and are ready to shift from striving to remembering what's already yours. Now let's explore what might be the most powerful truth Florence Scovel Shinn ever shared with the world. She understood a principle that cuts through all the spiritual noise and gets straight to the heart of manifestation. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. This single sentence contains the foundation of everything that works and everything that fails in your life. It's the skeleton key that unlocks why some people seem to effortlessly manifest their desires, while others remain stuck in cycles of wanting and waiting. The distinction isn't in how badly they want something or how clearly they can visualize it. It's in who they're being at the core level of identity. Think of it this way. Your state of being is like a tuning fork vibrating at a specific frequency. That frequency doesn't attract what you're asking for. It attracts what it's resonating with. If you're being someone who believes they're still lacking, even if you meditate for hours each day and recite perfect affirmations, the frequency you're emitting is still lack. If you're being someone who hopes money comes soon, even if you journal every night about abundance, you're broadcasting the frequency of not yet. And the universe simply mirrors that back to you with perfect precision. The revelation that transforms everything is this. The solution isn't to want differently, it's to be differently. Not tomorrow when the check clears, not next month when the relationship manifests, not someday when you finally feel worthy. Now, in this moment, before any external circumstances have changed. This is where the real spiritual mastery begins. Anyone can want something badly. Anyone can learn techniques. But shifting your state of being without requiring external validation first? That's the work that separates conscious creators from perpetual seekers. In this stillness, a profound truth emerges, one that will transform everything if you're willing to receive it. The answer you've been seeking isn't out there in more books, more courses, more techniques. It's not hidden in some esoteric teaching that you haven't discovered yet. The answer is inside you. It's always been inside you. And it's beautifully, almost shockingly simple. In fact, it's just two words. Two words that, when spoken with full conviction, don't just change your beliefs. They change your entire identity. They end the search. They end the waiting. They end the version of you that thought the prize was at the finish line of some spiritual marathon you've been running. Are you ready? Say these words out loud. It's already mine. Again, slower this time. It's already mine. Let those words sink in. Let them challenge you, because something deep inside might resist this declaration. The old voice might protest, "But I don't see it yet. But I don't have it in my hands. But my bank account says otherwise. Notice that resistance without engaging with it. You're not speaking to the past. You're not repeating the old identity. You are declaring what's true from a higher dimension of being. It's already mine. That is your truth now. That is your identity. Type in the comments, "It's already mine," if you're ready to claim this declaration as your new operating system. This declaration isn't about denying your current circumstances. It's about recognizing a deeper reality that exists beneath the surface of appearances. When you say, "It's already mine," you're not trying to convince yourself of something that isn't true. You're aligning with what's already true on the level of potential, of divine order, of your birthright. The revolutionary impact of these words comes from their ability to collapse time. Most manifestation approaches keep you locked in a linear timeline, working now for results later, planting seeds today for harvest tomorrow. But "It's already mine" operates from a different paradigm altogether. It steps outside of time and claims the completion of your desire in the eternal now. This might sound abstract, but the shift in your nervous system when you truly embody these words is anything but abstract. There's a tangible release that happens, a letting go of the striving, a surrender of the forcing. The shoulders drop, the breath deepens, and something in your being recognizes the truth of what you've just declared. When you declare, "It's already mine," understand what's really happening in that moment. You're not speaking from the limited perspective of your past experiences or repeating affirmations to convince your conscious mind of something it doubts. You're actually declaring from a higher dimension of consciousness, a dimension where time is simultaneous rather than linear, where what you desire already exists in its completed form. The revelation that transforms everything is recognizing that your desires don't need to be created. They need to be claimed. They already exist in the dimension of potential, in the realm of divine completion. Your job isn't to build them from scratch, but to align your frequency with their existing reality until they can manifest in your physical experience. This mindset shift completely revolutionizes your manifestation practice. Instead of pushing, striving, and forcing, you're recognizing, claiming, and allowing. The energy is completely different. One exhausts you, the other energizes you. One creates resistance, the other creates flow. Now, to anchor this new paradigm, I invite you to take a powerful action. Not just to think these words or speak them, but to write them down. Type, "It's already mine" in the comments below. This isn't just leaving a comment. It's signing a new agreement with reality. It's drawing a line in the sand between who you've been and who you're becoming. When you write these words, you're not just engaging with a video. You're making a declaration to the universe, to your subconscious mind, and to the quantum field of all possibility. You're anchoring this new frequency in your nervous system, creating a tangible reference point for your transformation. And if you notice a slight trembling in your fingers as you type these words, good. That means your nervous system feels the shift. That means something deep within you recognizes the magnitude of what's happening. Because this isn't just a mantra or a positive statement. It's a state, a frequency, a decision point. Share in the comments, "I've signed the agreement," after typing, "It's already mine," to cement this powerful new relationship with your desires and with reality itself. Let me show you something profound that separates those who merely practice manifestation techniques from those who embody manifestation as their natural state of being. When you say, "It's already mine," understand that you're not just reciting a mantra or an affirmation. Mantras are tools we use to reach a destination, but this declaration is the destination itself. It's a state, a frequency, a decision point that fundamentally alters your relationship with reality. Think about the energy difference between these two statements. When you say, "I want money," what you're really saying energetically is, "I don't have money." That's the signal. That's the frequency. And life mirrors it back to you perfectly, obediently. But when you say, "It's already mine," you're not asking. You're not negotiating. You're not performing spiritual gymnastics. You are standing as one who knows. This is what Florence Scovel Shinn referred to when she spoke about assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not hope, not wish, not someday. Fulfilled. Now. This is what "it's already mine" accomplishes in your consciousness. It collapses time. It overrides doubt. It places you energetically in the position of having rather than wanting. The revelation that transforms everything is understanding that assumption isn't pretending or make-believe. It's stepping into a higher order of reality, where what you desire already exists. Your job isn't to create it, but to align with it. And assumption is the bridge that connects you to that reality. Behind the scenes of every masterful manifestation is this same pattern. The person didn't chase the manifestation. They assumed the state of its completion and moved from there. They didn't visualize from a place of lack. They remembered from a place of completion. The difference might seem subtle, but the impact is revolutionary. When you truly understand the power of assumption, your entire approach to manifestation shifts. You no longer see yourself as someone trying to attract something outside of you. You recognize yourself as the attractor field itself, naturally drawing to you what already belongs to you by divine right. This shift in identity is what Florence Scovel Shinn was pointing to when she taught that the outer world must conform to the inner assumption. The world doesn't respond to what you ask for. It responds to who you are being. And when you are being the one for whom it's already done, already complete, already yours, the mirror of reality has no choice but to reflect that back to you. The journey of embodiment we're on isn't about adding something new to your consciousness. It's about removing the barriers to what's already true. It's about recognizing that the separation between you and your desire was never real. It was always an illusion created by a limited perspective. "It's already mine" is the declaration that dissolves that illusion. It's the key that unlocks the door to a reality where waiting is no longer necessary because completion already exists in the eternal now. Type in the comments, "I assume the state of completion," if you're ready to shift from wanting to having, from chasing to attracting, from hoping to knowing. If you've ever studied quantum physics, you've encountered the fascinating revelation that time isn't the rigid linear structure we experience in our day-to-day lives. At the quantum level, time is more fluid, more malleable. And this understanding gives us profound insight into why "it's already mine" works with such power. This declaration doesn't just change your thoughts. It literally collapses time in your consciousness. It brings the future into the now, not as a concept, but as a lived reality. When you genuinely embody the energy of "it's already mine," you override the mental programming that keeps your desire at a distance in some imagined future. You step outside the timeline altogether and claim completion in the eternal now. This is why the shift feels so radical in your body, because you're literally rewiring your relationship with time itself. Once you've made this declaration from a place of knowing rather than hoping, your environment has no choice but to begin matching it. This isn't magical thinking. It's the natural consequence of shifting your energetic broadcast. The universe is fundamentally responsive not to your words, not to your actions, but to your felt identity. And your felt identity is comprised of two essential elements: what you truly believe about yourself at the core level and what you refuse to question anymore. Let that sink in for a moment. Your identity isn't just what you affirm. It's what you've made non-negotiable in your consciousness. It's the aspects of yourself that you no longer debate, doubt, or second-guess. When you say, "I want money," you're still leaving room for debate. Your subconscious can argue, "But do you deserve it? But is it possible? But what if it doesn't come?" But when your identity becomes, "It's already mine," those questions become irrelevant. They simply don't apply to someone who's standing in completion. The journey of transformation we're on isn't about convincing the universe to give you what you want. It's about aligning your consciousness with what's already yours. The universe isn't withholding anything from you. It's simply waiting for you to claim your inheritance through the pathway of your embodied identity. Think about the people in your life who seem to manifest with ease, the ones who attract opportunities, resources, and experiences that others struggle for. What sets them apart isn't better techniques or stronger visualizations. It's their unshakable identity. They don't hope for results, they assume them. They don't plead with the universe, they collaborate with it. They don't question their worthiness, they've made it non-negotiable. This revelation completely transforms how you approach the manifestation process. Instead of focusing primarily on what you're doing, you shift your attention to who you're being. Instead of collecting more techniques, you simplify into alignment with your true nature as a creator. The impact of this shift is immediate, not necessarily in your external circumstances, but in your internal state. There's a profound peace that comes with knowing rather than seeking, with remembering rather than striving. Share in the comments, "I am the creator, not the seeker," if you're feeling the paradigm shift from chasing your desires to claiming what's already yours by divine right. So here's my challenge to you. Make "it's already mine" your non-negotiable. Belief, not just a nice idea you play with occasionally, not just a concept you explore when you're feeling optimistic. Make it the foundation of your new identity, the baseline from which you operate in every situation. What does non-negotiable actually mean in practice? It means that when your mind freaks out about a bill that arrives, you say, "It's already mine." When the old version of you tries to come back wearing worry like a costume, you say, "It's already mine." When external circumstances seem to contradict your inner knowing, you say, "It's already mine." Not as a desperate attempt to convince yourself, but as a calm reminder of what you've already decided is true. The revolutionary insight here is that you're not using this declaration to change your reality. You're using it to remind yourself of a reality that already exists. You're not trying to manifest abundance. You're remembering that abundance is already yours. You're not trying to attract love. You're remembering that love is already yours. This subtle but profound distinction changes everything about how you approach manifestation. When you truly embody this mindset, something remarkable happens. You stop fighting for what you want and start living from it. There's a world of difference between these two approaches. Fighting for something means you're operating from the energy of not having it. You're pushing, striving, forcing, qualifying. But living from it means you're operating from the energy of completion. You're allowing, receiving, expecting, embodying. This shift doesn't just change how you feel, it transforms how you show up in the world. Your actions naturally align with your new identity. Your tone of voice shifts subtly but significantly. Your physical posture changes. Your decisions start reflecting the new you, not the doubting, hoping one, but the knowing, embodied one. Have you ever noticed how differently you walk after receiving great news? There's a lightness, a confidence, a certainty in your step. That's not a performance. It's the natural expression of your inner state. When you live from "it's already mine," that walk, that energy, that presence becomes your default setting, not an occasional visitor. The journey of transformation we're discussing isn't about adding more to your spiritual practice. It's about simplifying into alignment with what's already true. It's about removing the barriers between you and your natural state of abundance, love, and fulfillment. And the most direct pathway to this alignment is through your embodied identity. Look closely at people who seem to manifest with remarkable ease. They aren't constantly repeating affirmations or visualizing obsessively. They've simply made certain aspects of their identity non-negotiable. They don't hope for abundance. They assume it as their natural state. They don't plead with the universe. They collaborate with it as a creative partner. They don't question their worthiness. They've moved beyond that conversation entirely. Write in the comments, "I've shifted from fighting to living," if you can feel the difference between striving for your desires and embodying them as already fulfilled. When you fully anchor into "it's already mine" as your non-negotiable identity, momentum begins to build in your external reality. Not gradually, not incrementally, but suddenly, as if a dam has broken and all that was being held back rushes forward at once. You might notice money arriving from unexpected sources, a refund you weren't expecting, a client who decides to work with you out of nowhere, an opportunity that seems to find you rather than you hunting it down. Relationships shift, doors open that seemed permanently closed before, and people around you start making comments like, "There's something different about you. What changed?" What's fascinating about this phase of the journey is that nothing has changed externally, yet everything has changed internally. You've made the quantum leap from being someone who's trying to get results to being someone who naturally attracts them. You've shifted from the frequency of seeking to the frequency of having. And that internal transformation creates a ripple effect that reorganizes your entire outer experience to match it. This is what Florence Scovel Shinn referred to as living in the end. It's the art of assuming the result and relaxing into it. Notice the profound difference in energy between these two approaches. When you're focused on the how it will happen, when it will arrive, what steps you need to take, you're operating from the energy of separation. You're positioning yourself as distant from your desire, trying to build a bridge to reach it. But when you live in the end, you've already crossed that bridge. You're standing in the completion of your desire, looking back at the path as already traveled. From this vantage point, you don't need to force, manipulate, or control how things unfold. You simply allow the perfect path to reveal itself naturally, trusting that what's yours by divine right can never be kept from you. The revelation that transforms everything is this: you're not manipulating reality when you live in the end. You're remembering it. You're aligning with what's already true in the dimension of completion and allowing it to manifest in your physical experience. This isn't about bending reality to your will. It's about remembering who you truly are and what's already yours. Behind the scenes of this process is a profound shift in how you relate to the manifestation journey itself. Most people approach manifestation as a project, something to work on, to perfect, to eventually complete. But those who master the art of living in the end recognize that manifestation isn't something they do. It's something they are. They don't manifest abundance. They are abundance manifesting. They don't attract love. They are love attracting. The doing flows naturally from the being, not the other way around. When you walk in the energy of "it's already mine," when you breathe it, speak it, embody it, the world has no choice but to reorganize itself around your new frequency. Not because you forced it to, but because you've reminded it of what was always true. Type in the comments, "I live in the end," if you're ready to step into this powerful state of completion and allow your external reality to catch up with what you've already claimed internally. Now breathe again. Let that phrase, "it's already mine," be your atmosphere, your oxygen, your natural state. Feel how different that energy is from chasing. There's a profound liberation that comes with this shift, a release of the constant pressure to make things happen, to prove yourself worthy, to force results into existence. When you operate from "it's already mine," the desperate grip of wanting loosens. The anxious monitoring for evidence fades. The exhausting performance of qualifying for your desires dissolves. What replaces all of that is something remarkable, a quiet knowing, a peaceful certainty, a grounded confidence that doesn't need external validation to sustain itself. This feeling isn't something you manufacture or force. It's something you remember. It's your natural state before the world convinced you that you were separate from what you desire. The journey of embodiment isn't about becoming something new. It's about returning to what was always true. The illumination that changes everything is recognizing that your desires aren't foreign objects you need to attract from outside yourself. They're aspects of your own consciousness that are seeking expression through you. The feeling of having isn't something you achieve. It's something you allow. It's not a destination you reach through effort. It's a remembering you access through surrender. And here's where we move into the next phase of embodiment. The initial declaration of "it's already." Mine creates a spark, a moment of clarity, a glimpse of a new possibility. But for this spark to become a flame that transforms your entire reality, you need to move beyond the initial excitement into sustained embodiment. This next step isn't about shouting your affirmation from the rooftops or convincing others of your new perspective. It's about moving silently with this truth in your bones. It's about anchoring the state, not just feeling the momentary high of a new concept. Moving silently with conviction means allowing this truth to inform how you walk through the world moment by moment. It means making decisions from the place of having rather than wanting. It means speaking, breathing, and moving as someone who knows rather than someone who hopes. Not as a performance for others to witness, but as an authentic expression of your aligned state. The journey of transformation doesn't happen in grand dramatic moments. It happens in the quiet choices you make when no one is watching. It happens in how you respond when circumstances seem to contradict your declaration. It happens in the private conversation you have with yourself when doubt arises. This silent conviction is what distinguishes those who experience momentary inspiration from those who experience permanent transformation. Anyone can feel the spark of a new idea, but embodying that idea until it becomes your default state, that's the art of conscious creation. Write in the comments, I move with silent power. If you're ready to go beyond the initial excitement and anchor this truth into every cell of your being, let's explore what typically happens right at this transformative moment. You've said the words, "It's already mine." You felt something shift inside you, a spark of possibility, a glimpse of a new way of being. And then almost immediately, most people sabotage this moment in a subtle but powerful way. They start looking for evidence. They check their bank account. They monitor their phone for messages. They scan their environment for signs that something has changed. But here's the revelation that changes everything. Looking is the language of doubt. When you're searching for proof, what you're really saying is, I don't fully believe what I just declared. You're positioning yourself as someone who needs confirmation before they can fully commit to their new state of being. And that very act of seeking evidence pushes your desire further away, keeping it perpetually in the future, always coming, but never here. The mindset shift that creates true transformation is recognizing that evidence doesn't precede belief, it follows it. Your circumstances don't change first and then allow you to believe. Your belief changes first, and then your circumstances naturally reorganize to match it. This is the hidden truth behind every manifestation that seems miraculous. The inner shift always came first. So what does the alternative look like? Instead of seeking proof, you settle into what I call the state of ownership. Think about something you already have and value. Perhaps your home, a relationship, or a skill you've mastered. How do you feel about it? Do you wake up every morning obsessively checking to make sure it's still there? Do you constantly need reassurance that it belongs to you? Of course not. There's a natural relaxation around things we truly own. There's a quiet calm, a taken-for-granted quality to them. This is precisely the energy you want to embody with everything you desire. That same relaxed certainty, that same unquestioned knowing. When something is already yours, you don't frantically chase it. You don't anxiously monitor its status. You simply live with the peaceful awareness of its presence in your life. The journey of manifestation we're discussing requires a fundamental shift in how you relate to evidence. Instead of needing to see it to believe it, you choose to believe it before you see it. This isn't blind faith or wishful thinking. It's conscious creation. It's recognizing that your state of being is the cause, and your circumstances are the effect, never the other way around. Behind the scenes of this shift is a profound reordering of your relationship with reality itself. Most people position themselves as recipients of reality, waiting for circumstances to change so they can feel differently. But masters of consciousness position themselves as creators of reality, choosing how they feel first and allowing circumstances to follow. The impact of this reversal cannot be overstated. When you no longer need external confirmation to validate your internal state, you've discovered true freedom. You're no longer at the mercy of conditions. You're no longer waiting for permission to embody the energy of having what you desire. You're claiming that energy now, regardless of what your senses currently report. Drop in the comments, "I own it now," if you're ready to shift from seeking evidence to embodying the calm certainty of ownership. Let's explore how to stabilize this powerful shift you've begun. Many people experience moments of alignment, brief glimpses where they touch the frequency of having rather than wanting, only to slide back into their old patterns when challenges arise. The difference between temporary inspiration and permanent transformation lies in how you stabilize this new state. Here's the illuminating truth. You don't stabilize this shift through effort or willpower. You can't force yourself to maintain a high vibration or constantly monitor your thoughts for negativity. That approach creates an underlying tension that actually works against what you're trying to accomplish. Instead, stabilization happens through embodiment, through thinking, speaking, and moving naturally from your new identity. Embodiment isn't something you do, it's something you become. It's allowing the truth of "it's already mine" to infiltrate every aspect of your being, until it's no longer a concept you're practicing, but simply who you are. This is the bridge between intellectual understanding and lived experience, between knowing about this principle and knowing it in your bones. To make this tangible and practical, I invite you to try something with me right now. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that everything you've ever wanted, the money, the freedom, the relationship, the health, the impact, the peace, has already arrived. Not with fanfare or dramatic announcement, but as a quiet internal realization. Oh, it's here now. From within this vision, notice how you would move through your day. How would you walk? How would your breathing change? What expression would naturally appear on your face as you poured your morning coffee? What kinds of thoughts would cross your mind? And more importantly, what kinds of thoughts would no longer have any power over you? This visualization isn't just a pleasant daydream. It's actually a profound technology for neurological rewiring. When you vividly imagine yourself in this completed state, your brain and nervous system begin creating new neural pathways that support this reality. You're literally building the internal architecture that will sustain your transformation. Now let's explore what Florence Scovel Shinn pointed to as perhaps the most crucial aspect of this entire process. She understood that there's a profound difference between occasionally entering the state of the wish, fulfilled, and actually remaining there. This distinction separates those who experience fleeting manifestations from those who completely transform their reality. Most people approach this spiritual principle like tourists visiting a luxury hotel. They check in for a weekend retreat, feeling the high of alignment, speaking the right words, visualizing with clarity. But then they check out and return to their real life, where doubt, worry, and limitation are the default settings. They treat the state of completion as a special destination they visit rather than the home they actually live in. But the transformation we're discussing isn't about visiting the energy of "it's already mine" when you're feeling optimistic or when circumstances support your belief. It's about remaining in that state, even especially when the external world seems to contradict it. It's about making this consciousness your permanent residence, not your vacation spot. Share in the comments, "I choose to remain," if you're ready to stop visiting the state of completion and start living there permanently. Let me reveal why the declaration, "it's already mine," holds such transformative power in your life. This phrase isn't just a positive affirmation. It's a reality recognition that fundamentally changes your relationship with everything you desire. It works because it cancels the perceived space between you and what you want. Think about how we typically approach manifestation. We position our desires as separate from us, something out there that we need to attract, achieve, or earn. We create an imaginary distance, a gap that needs to be bridged through effort, time, and qualification. But this very perception of separation is what keeps our desires at arm's length. "It's already mine" collapses that illusory gap completely. It recognizes that there is no in-between, no distance to travel, no bridge to cross. There is only you and the now. And in the now, completion already exists. Your desires aren't separate entities floating somewhere in the future. They're aspects of your own consciousness seeking expression through you. This paradigm shift fundamentally rewires how you experience reality. Instead of seeing yourself as someone trying to get somewhere, you recognize yourself as someone who's already arrived. Instead of pursuing what you want, you embody the state of having already received it. The journey transforms from an external quest to an internal remembering. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that time and space are constructs of the mind, not ultimate realities. In the dimension of consciousness where creation actually happens, your desires already exist in their completed form. Your job isn't to create them from scratch, but to align with their existing reality until they can manifest in your physical experience. Now here's where most people stumble on this journey. When doubt shows up, and it will show up, often just as you're beginning to feel the power of your new state. The old identity doesn't surrender without a fight. It will whisper questions. Is this really working? Where's the evidence? What if you're just fooling yourself? The natural response to these doubts is to either argue with them or try to suppress them. Both approaches actually strengthen the doubt by giving it your energy and attention. The masterful approach is entirely different. When doubt appears, don't fight it. Don't resist it. Don't even engage with it. Just stay in the state. Remain in the energy of "it's already mine," not by forcing yourself to believe, but by simply returning to the truth you've recognized. October isn't just another month on your calendar. It's your threshold, your portal, the sacred space between who you've been and who you've now decided to be. The version of you who declares "it's already mine" isn't waiting for permission to live your desires. They're embodying them now, in this moment, regardless of what the external world shows. Write in the comments, "I recognize there is no gap," if you're feeling the profound truth that you and your desires were never truly separate in the first place. As we come to this moment of completion in our journey together, I want you to remember something powerful. October isn't just another month on your calendar. It's your threshold, your portal, the sacred space between who you've been and who you've now decided to be. The version of you who declares, "it's already mine," isn't waiting for permission to live your desires. They're embodying them now, in this moment, regardless of what the external world shows. The transformation we've explored today isn't just a concept to think about occasionally. It's a state to live from consistently. And if this resonates with the truth you've always known deep within, I invite you to join me on this ongoing journey of embodiment. Subscribe to this channel if you feel called to remain in this frequency, to be surrounded by reminders of who you truly are and what's already yours by divine right. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Simply write, "I claim what's already mine," if this message found its way to exactly the right moment in your journey. Your declaration isn't just words on a screen. It's a ripple in consciousness that affects everyone who encounters it. If you found value in our time together, leave a like on this video, not as validation for me, but as an acknowledgement to yourself that you're committed to this new way of being. Each like creates a marker in your consciousness, a reminder of the day you decided to stop waiting and start embodying. There's a video right here that continues this exploration of embodied consciousness. Click and join me there as we go even deeper into what it means to live from the state of completion rather than seeking. Your journey doesn't end here. It's just beginning to unfold in the most beautiful ways.